Hello, welcome to part 3 of the metal processing part. We will continue with the two common processing methods, which is the 3-piece cans and the 2-piece cans. So we will look at the 3-piece cans, which are mainly made of steel alloy or tin plate steel. It will actually consist of one can bottle and 2 end pieces, and it is suitable for heat sterilized foods such as canned foods, and it is also suitable for packaging of powders such as syrups and cooking oils. So normally, why is it called 3-piece cans? Because there are 3 pieces joined together. So you have the round body, which is the one can body, and you also have 2 end pieces, which is one on the top and one at the bottom. So can you think of any food products packed in 3-piece can? As you can see from the photos here, there are a few examples: the fruit cocktail, the Milo cans, and also the olive oil cans. And other examples would be your mushroom cans, your abalone cans, and so forth. So we will look at the manufacturing process of a 3-piece can. So how is a 3-piece can made? So it actually involves many processing methods. So you will actually have the first part, which is the coating, and then you followed by curing, which is to dry it and then harden it, and also you cut it into the correct size and shape that you want. And for the main body, you will actually have to roll it so that it becomes circular. And in order to join the two parts together, you will have to weld it first, and then you try to coat it and also seam it together so that it has very good protective layer against outside bacteria. And then you flange it, which is shown in H. And what is flanging? So flanging is like a plate of ring at the end to connect the two parts that are being bolted together. Then you will actually seam it together, and lastly you will actually bead it together. So you will see what is the beading in the next slide. So there are some considerations in the design and the manufacturer of the can to reduce the cost, which is by actually making it thinner so that it is cheaper, by additional rolling it so you make it flatter, and also the beading, which we've seen in the previous J, would be to provide corrugation so that it can actually maintain the strength and easy for you to hold. And also you have different thickness of the tin applied on each side of the steel. And in some considerations, you also replace the tin coating by chromium dioxide surface, which is also known as the tin-free steel that we have seen earlier on. So besides 3-piece cans, we will also look at the 2-piece cans. And for 2-piece cans, it means that there's only 2 parts that are joined together instead of 3-piece cans which have 3 parts joined together. And for 2-piece cans, it can actually be made from 3 methods. The first method would be called the draw can, and draw cans actually produce thicker walls due to single drawing on cans, and it is normally lower in height. So you can see, for example, your sardine cans. So you will see that the cans are normally oval or rectangular in shape, and the materials that are used to make a draw can would be either the tin-free steel or the aluminium. So in this example here, you can see that it is a can with an easy opening end. So it is made of draw can. Another one would be the draw and redraw, which in short we call DRD. And for this case, we will actually draw it out into the shape and size of the plunger, and also to redrawn to reduce the diameter and increase the height of the can. So for draw and redraw method, we normally use it for any cans that are deeper than its diameter. So you will find that it is taller and slimmer. So in this case, it will actually produce also quite thick wall, but thinner than draw cans. In the last type of methods of 2-piece cans, it is called the draw and wall iron. In short, it is called DWI. So in this method, it is actually a modern method for making aluminium beverage cans, and when a punch driver is actually made into a circular slag formed, the bottom and sides of the can is actually in one piece. So you can see that this whole bottom part is one piece and the top is another piece. And this part that is plunging out is actually called the fletch. So in this draw and wall iron method, you will actually have a metal sheet drawn with a plunger into the container. The wall is further drawn thinner with series of annular rings to increase the can height. And this will actually provide good control over the wall thickness and save metals. And also it will produce thinner wall as compared to the DRD method. And of course, you also have to add in lacquers to prevent the interaction between the metal and the products. So this is actually used for many types of beverage, such as your F&N, your Coca-Cola, and so forth. So how is a two-piece can made? So the general methods is shown here. So you will go from lubrication, and then cupping press, drawing and tinning, you trim it to the correct size, then you wash and dry it, you coat it with lacquers, you dry it again, then you print the label on it, you coat it with a base, you also coat it inside, and then you dry it again, then you go for necking to make it slimmer, and then quality checks. So there are a lot of process of quality checks from the cans to the packaging and so forth. So this part of the manufacturing of the two-piece can made is just for your own information, and the same goes for three-piece can made. So you don't have to really worry about how is the methods that is made. It's just for your own information. The next part that is important would be the lacquers. So what would be the use of lacquers? So lacquer coating is actually to prevent the corrosion and chemical interaction between the food. So you do not want any chemical interaction between your food and the surface of the cans. So you have to apply a layer of lacquers on the metal itself. So there are different types of lacquers that you see. There are 4 common lacquers that we have compiled in the table here. So the 4 different lacquers would be the epoxy phenolic compounds, the vinyl compounds, the acrylic lacquers, which are white, and the aeroresinous lacquers, which are gold-colored coatings. So each different types of lacquers serve a different purpose. So for the first one, it actually serves a purpose of being more resistant to acids and heat, and also suitable for cooked food. So the examples of cooked foods that we see here would be the canned meat, fish, fruits, vegetable products. And for vinyl compounds, it is suitable because it is resistant to acids and alkaline, and it also cannot withstand high temperatures in heat sterilization. So it is suitable for also using in wide range of pH, and examples would be to make your beers, wines, fruit juice, carbonated drinks. The next would be your acrylic lacquers, and it is actually used in general food canning as well, and you normally apply it for the inner and the outer surfaces. And the last one would be your aeroresinous lacquers, which is actually for more general purpose, and it is actually very cheap. So it is also used for beers, carbonated drinks, soaps, and vegetables. So lacquers are actually an important form of preventing the corrosion and the chemical interaction of food before you consume it. So in the next part, we will actually have some post-reading materials for you to look at. So you have to look at the post-reading materials, which is for your general information, which is how a two-piece can is actually made. So you can click on the link, which I will share it in Facebook, and also to read it, read more of what the history of the can comes from. And this link, I will also post it on Facebook so that you can have more information. So with that, we end part 3, and thanks for your time. So please attempt the worksheet questions for part 3, and then we will go on to part 4, which we will talk more about glass. Thanks for your time.